Yo people, welcome back to another review, this time the Acolyte episode 6. It contained a lot of dialogue across the episode, and to be honest, there was a lot of nothingness, but at the same time, the only decent stuff was the Kamir and Osha parts, and it's probably been the best part of the show so far, but that's not saying much. We got some good insight and information about Kamir. I think Manny Jacinto has been doing a good job for this character, and for me, he's the MVP of the show. It was Sol, but he kind of dried up a little bit, and now I think it's this guy. He's been the most consistent, the most interesting, so good for him. His character was a former Jedi and whatnot, and based off the previous episode, I first thought that Sol might have been his former master. The way they spoke to each other, at the bare minimum, I think they definitely know each other from the past. However, after seeing the scars on his back in this episode, I think his former master was Vernestra. The scars easily look like he got whipped, and she has the lightsaber whip, so 2 and 2 equals 4. It also makes sense as to why she is determined to hide all of this mess from the very beginning, instead of informing the Jedi Council. I assume that she finds it an embarrassment that the Sith haven't been seen in a very, very long time, and then the first sighting they get, and it's her own former student that starts to kill the Jedi. I think she's trying to save her own skin and is deflecting it all with the politics. We heard her say in the previous episodes not to tell the Jedi Council because it will get political and all of that stuff. Nah, it's because she's embarrassed. Either that, or she's actually evil and she's an insider and she's been in on it the whole time, which I highly doubt. Either way, if you've checked in my other reviews, I've said since day one there's something off about her and she's annoying. Purple lightsaber as well, let's not forget that. And we know what that means, red plus blue, so she definitely has some sort of dark side tendencies or knowledge at the very minimum. Maybe she spoke about it with Kamir when he was a student, which led to him starting to independently think about the dark side and just what route he wants to go, and essentially this all led to him leaving the Jedi Order. I can also see this being the reason as to why the Jedi became so strict in general with the whole no attachment, no emotion thing that they do in the prequels. On top of those restrictions, the whole independent thinking, and we even hear a lot about this in the Clone Wars. It's the reason why Rex and the 501st actually like Anakin and Ahsoka. They do things differently, they think differently, and maybe this was one of the first reasons as to why the Jedi started to tighten up with the rules. Maybe this was the catalyst. They make the Jedi into these sheep, robot warriors that have to follow the strict rules. We saw how paranoid they were in the prequels, so maybe the whole extremist Jedi rules comes from this. However, again, if that was to happen, then that would mean that the Jedi knew about the Sith, which would break canon, and there's literally no avoiding it. Every episode that comes out, it just gets harder and harder for these shills to defend how this isn't breaking canon. There's no way to run from it now. Anyways, the majority of the other half of the episode was the whole May and Sol thing, which was pretty bad, to be honest. They tried to add comedy into it, which was random. They tried to do all these other things to kind of build up tension, and it just flopped all around. And the whole thing in general just felt kind of pointless. However, whenever something interesting was about to happen, they'd be interrupted by the convenient power outage, then the no power outage, and it was just very poorly written. May as well, as a character, she's a flip-flop, so why would people be invested in her if she doesn't even know what she wants to do? One day she'll wake up good, one day she'll wake up bad, she doesn't know, it just depends on the vibes. I think the biggest disappointment was that we were supposed to find out in this episode what Sol has been hiding this whole time, and we've gone through yet another episode of not finding out what really happened to the witches. And like I speculated in previous episodes, whatever this whole thing is, Sol is responsible for something huge. We've seen it with the sort of the anger, the guilt, the shame that he's felt about the incident whenever he's had to speak about it, think about it, especially in the last 2 episodes. And somehow they've prolonged this even more, having to wait another week. They're putting a lot of pressure on themselves for this story to actually deliver. Otherwise, we've waited for no reason. So overall, a very average episode. Good stuff from Kamir, who is now carrying the show. He's taken over from Sol's carry job from the beginning, episodes 1 and 2. But yeah, as always, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Drop a like on the video if you enjoyed. Sub to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you for your time and have a great rest of your day.